take the plate off the bottom here, and there's 3 screws that come with it, 2 in the end and 1 in the front you have to remove, and it says here it's indispensable to put the screws. I'll repeat, it's indispensable to put the screws. So I'm assuming that you're not supposed to screw them in, they're supposed to come out. You'll put them on later, but right now you got to put this plate on the top plate and use the 4 short screws that come with the kit, the long ones, or if you have a wire rack and you use those bottom clamps to clamp it together. Short screws. One of the things you have to do with the top here is pull out the back 2 screws if you're going to put in the light, and then it shows in the kit diagram, you take the clips off the bottom of this and you put them on the end of that, and then you put them up into here. And this is the fun where it's at. Yeah. That's where it goes. Okay, it's a new day. I'm going to make a couple changes on this. I was shorted a screw on the top plate here. Let me get down. So you can see what's in the plastic top plate that the top box mounts on. I'll have to get the correct terminology. I was missing a screw. I went and got one to equal the one that was out there, but when you put the light kit in, the existing screws don't work. So you've got to switch them out to 3/4 inch, which is 18 millimeter. So they should be 5 millimeter by 18s. So I'm going to switch out all 4 of them so they're matched. So there'll be a 4 millimeter hex or Allen wrench, and match them all up. The other thing I'm going to do doing is on the light kit there was this little tiny screw. Let me go ahead and take it out and show you what the comparison. Okay, they sent me this little tiny screw. It was like a number 6 wood screw. It just barely keeps from going through, so I've transposed it over to a nice big finish washer with it's got a built-in washer in it, so it'll give me a lot of hold down besides being what it should have been. Okay, I've got the light bulb exposed. That's one of the things you can, when you lower the panel down, you don't have to, but there's another little panel that fits up in here that's got some 2 pop rivets that hold it in place, but I've taken out 2 of the pop rivets that go on either side along in here to let the fender assembly lay down. So now I need to get into the black and the yellow wires. My service manual said that the black is always is the ground, and then the yellow is going to be the brake light, which is what I want this light up here to be. So in the service manual it says the yellow one's actually yellow and green, but they must have just used the yellow coming out of the pigtail for the clip underneath. Okay, I've got these little splice clips that you put around the wire that goes between this little metal hook in here. You probably can barely see it, and then the thing folds over. But the trick part is that these pink connectors, I'll get a better shot later, slip over the outside and plug into the middle. So it's really a neat setup. So let me get these things mounted and I'll come back and show you what I've done with them. Okay, I've got my little clips mounted in here, and I've got my little pluggies mounted on my wire. I had to cut the other ones off and remount these. And make sure you have, if you're going to do it, make sure you got a dimple crimper and not just one of those squeeze ones, because they don't work with the crap. I put some tape back on. The thing you have to remember when you're doing this work is that the 3 tabs on this lens up here, the 3rd tab is pointing straight up. So you got to make certain with that when you put it in that you don't have it reversed upside down, and then when you twist it back the way it's supposed to be, then you start getting the twisting back here in the wires. It'll put a tension on them and maybe pull them out. So this is the thing I was telling you about. You got the little plastic clips. Make sure I get the right one here, that slip over and lock in place. Now I've got a nice tidy connection there, and I can put everything back here. so I can get the plate up to put on that lower plate. We'll come back once I get this all back. The other thing you want to do is make certain that it works before you cover it up. I just wish it had some turn signals in it. There's room out here. I don't know, they could have put that in, but they didn't. Let me tidy everything up and close it up. Okay, the next thing you got to do is you need to take these, you got 4 screws that have, well actually there's 6 of them that are socket head, that 2 of them go on the tail or the license plate at the end of the fender, which we'll get to, and then 4 of them come through where the acorn nuts we took off. The OEM bracket has the studs welded on, but these you got to get in and you know, be a surgeon. I find it helpful too to take like a number 2 Phillips and stick through the hole to at least line one side up to get it in place. So now I've got that one in, and now I'm going to put the bolts in on the tailpiece here on the license assembly or right above it, and then put in the last ones for the bracket that goes onto this thing that I just put in. And then once you get all those in, then you can start tightening everything down and make certain that it all fits. And we'll do that next after we get all the bolts in. Okay, it's all on again, and it's built like a Sherman tank. It's tough. If you blow a tail light bulb, it'll make it a little harder because a lot of this stuff has to, well, this doesn't have to come off, but the plate underneath that went in through the seat has to come off. So you got these, well, it doesn't, yeah, these bolts have to come undone, and the bolts inside have to come undone, because it's bolted up here on those extensions, this whole fender will fall down, so it's not that bad problem. I torqued these down. These bolts up on top are 11 foot-pounds, or yeah, 16 Newton meters, so I got those down. They go into aluminum, so to make certain that those 3 bolts on top have anti-seize on them before you stick them into the aluminum. The other bolts going through under the seat here to replace the acorn nuts, they're about 7.5, same foot-pounds, the same with these down here. So they're just, you know, light wrenches and good and tight. I've got the light in, all the panels are back up, and let me go get the box and we'll stick that on. If I had my druthers on this, I would have liked to have seen them narrow the arch in here and then had the maybe a slight bend so that these rods would come down along the edge between the clear and the red, so that the turn signals would be just a little more visible. I got to take it outside, well, yeah, I guess I could do it inside. I just wish that the rods were in a little more so that they would be visible, or else they had a turn signal attachment along with their brake light up here. Wouldn't be that much of a problem on the Tmax here to do that, and I may do that later if I can find a good aftermarket. So let me go get the box and put it on. Got our box, stick it in the little prongs, and then it's got to be in the 135 degree mark, and then you pull this down. It took me a while to figure out how that works on the manual. And then you're in, and then back up into the open and grab it underneath the latch, underneath the handle here, because you push it in and the handle comes up. Pop it open, there you go. You got a nice little document carrier up here. Get back in there. Pretty satisfied with the fit and finish of this thing. So then back, if you want to take it off again, just 135 degrees, pop that, and off she comes. And with this handle on it, it acts like a big suitcase. So I'm quite impressed. It has a little more rake it has a little more rake to it than I would have thought. And then also I wished